Welcome to this explainer breaking down the massive June 2026 ADM Experience Manager release. If you're working with AEM as a cloud service, you know exactly how crucial it is to stay ahead of the curve with these new capabilities. Today, we're zooming in on how cross-app efficiency and AI automation are completely transforming workflows, specifically around AEM sites and assets. We're going to showcase some incredible AI-specific enhancements. And for the developers turning in, we've got some highly anticipated IDE-oriented tools to go over. Here's our agenda for today's rundown. First up, the new AEM experience. Second, supercharging sites and content. Third, assets meets Adobe Express. Fourth, AI-powered asset management. And finally, smart tools for developers.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the new AEM experience.
The absolute core theme of this June 2026 update is all about providing smarter, automated tools to make managing your entire content lifecycle faster and, honestly, just way more intuitive. So whether you're a marketer trying to push a campaign out the door or a developer wrangling a complex backend, Adobe is rolling out features that really break down those traditional silos. What we're seeing is a huge push toward bringing the tools you actually need directly into the interface you're already working in. And, as you might guess, it's all powered by next-generation AI. Moving right along to Section 2, supercharging sites and content. Okay, let's look at Visual Content Fragments. If you spend your days in AEM sites, you already know the power of structured content, right? But historically, authoring it can feel a little, well, abstract. This new feature totally changes the game by rendering your content fragment output as fully formatted HTML experiences using attached templates, way before you hit publish. This really is a brilliant illustration of how content creators can ensure top-notch quality and consistency. Authors can now actually preview and validate their structured content right in its final visual form. That means you don't need to tap a developer on the shoulder for every single visual check anymore. This ensures you're delivering those modular experiences consistently across all your channels, whether we're talking web, email, or edge delivery services. Plus, Adobe threw in a built-in generic template so you can knock out basic QA immediately without having to wait around for a custom template to be built.
All right, let's jump into Section 3, Assets meets Adobe Express.
I want you to really think about your current workflow for a second. Are you totally tired of constantly switching apps and downloading massive files just to edit a layered design? Just imagine if you didn't have to download a layered file, open a separate app, make your edit, export the thing, and then re-upload it, all just to make one tiny marketing tweak? Comparing these workflows side by side reveals a pretty stark difference. The old way was just incredibly tedious, right? Now, with the June 2026 release, you can open Adobe Photoshop files, and yes, I mean actual PSDs, along with Illustrator and InDesign files directly in the Adobe Express embedded editor, right there within AEM Assets or Content Hub. You stay entirely in your browser, you make those layered edits, and you save the remixed channel-ready asset instantly back to AME. It is an absolute game changer for accelerating content creation. But here's the crucial question. What actually happens to the tracking of that newly created file? Well, when you create these variations, AEM now completely preserves the lineage metadata between those source assets and your brand new Adobe Express creations. It automatically logs the relationship between the original approved brand asset and the fresh content you just spun up. This is absolutely critical for tightening up governance, supporting rights management, and really just ensuring total transparency across your entire content supply chain. And hey, speaking of metadata, take a look at this integration mapping. When you link up AEM assets with Workfront Planning and GenStudio for performance marketing, standard campaign metadata just flows seamlessly. We're talking fields like campaign name, region, channel, persona, and product pulling straight from Workfront and automatically populating the AEM assets metadata. This makes finding the exact asset you need for a specific campaign an absolute breeze. Literally, no more manual tagging of campaign details. Now moving into Section 4, AI-powered asset management. We all know tagging assets manually is a notoriously tedious job. So enter Brandemir metadata, or BAM. This is a really clever AI-powered capability that automatically generates custom metadata for your assets the very second they're uploaded or reprocessed. But the cool part is, it doesn't just spit out generic AI terms. It uses a tailored prompt library that defines your specific brand vocabulary and taxonomy. It actually understands your unique business context, which cuts down manual entry by literal orders of magnitude. And what if your team is onboarding new content from other repositories? Well, there's now an AI-powered onboarding agent to hold your hand through the process. It walks you through this incredibly smooth conversational workflow across 4 main steps: connection setup, metadata mapping, a dry run validation just to make sure everything looks good before you pull the trigger, and finally, the actual content transfer. It completely automates those complex migrations and ongoing syncs without you needing to build any custom integrations. It basically configures your folder hierarchies and taxonomies right out of the box based on best practices. These AI enhancements also extend beautifully over into dynamic media. The system can now automatically generate video captions just by analyzing the audio track, which instantly improves real-time accessibility. But it gets even better. It now supports server-side rendered embedded video transcripts, along with compliant video object schemas. So why does this actually matter? Because embedding those transcripts on the server side directly and dramatically increases your video's SEO performance and its visibility to large language models. Which brings us to our final segment, Section 5, Smart Tools for Developers. First things first, a very, very important date to mark on your calendars, April 14th, 2026. Starting on this exact date, any Cloud Manager pipelines that are still using deprecated Java APIs will completely fail the code quality step. No exceptions. Your deployments are going to be blocked until that deprecated API usage is ripped out. This is a super critical maintenance update as Adobe gets the runtime ready for Java 25. But hey, don't stress about manually hunting down all those old APIs yourself. The new Code Assessment IDE agent, which is currently in beta, is built specifically to help you out here. Working right inside AI-assisted development tools like Cursor, Claude Code, or good old VS Code, this agent will actually detect and auto-fix issues directly in your AEM codebase. It completely handles replacing those deprecated APIs, modernizing Sling model dependencies, updating your outdated Maven dependencies, and it'll even add missing timeouts to outbound HTTP calls. It catches the problems early on and drastically cuts down on your review cycles. Those conversational AI capabilities we talked about, they've also been baked right into Cloud Manager. The AI assistant can instantly retrieve real-time info on your pipelines and environments, or quickly fetch specific error logs and access logs for you. It even supports troubleshooting for web tier config pipelines now. A wildly useful feature, though, is how it handles scheduling. When you need to set up quiet hours or update free periods, the AI assistant basically holds your hand through the process. It actively flags constraints, like maintenance exclusion windows, so there is no chance you accidentally misconfigure your deployment schedule. Rounding out the developer toolkit today are two pretty powerful public betas. First up, we have AEM Edge functions. These let you execute JavaScript right at the CDN layer, which brings your data processing way closer to the end user. This is huge for slashing latency on things like geolocation personalization. Second, we have snapshots for rapid development environments, or RDEs. This one lets you easily take a snapshot of the current state of your code and content, giving you a completely safe restore point when you're syncing up new code or testing out risky features. As you can see, this June 2026 release of AEM as a cloud service is just packed with insane value. From allowing marketers to visually preview content fragments and edit full PSDs directly in their browser, to handing developers AI tools that literally auto-fix code and troubleshoot pipelines, this update fundamentally changes how we do our jobs. It completely shatters those old silos and injects real intelligence into every single step. So I'll leave you with this thought. How are you going to leverage these new tools to speed up your own content supply chain? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.